Okay, let's talk about something that's completely changed the game for me and so many of my students. Rent to social housing. If you've ever wanted a rent-to-rent strategy that gives you long-term, stable, guaranteed rent and minimal management, this is it. Now, I love all rent-to-rent strategies. HMOs, service accommodation, deal sourcing, they all have their place, but there's something special about social housing that makes it a must-consider option for anyone looking to build a hands-off, scalable property business. So in the next 10 minutes, I'm going to walk you through why is this strategy so powerful, the real pros and cons, and how you can get started step by step. Now, if you've been looking into rent-to-rent, you've probably heard a lot about serviced accommodation, you know, the Airbnb strategy, and HMOs, the student accommodation. Both are fantastic strategies, and we teach both of these strategies as well, but social housing is a little different. It works in a way that gives you a level of security that's hard to beat, and here's why. Instead of renting to individual tenants or short-term guests, you lease your property to a social housing provider, a charity, or the council. These providers are constantly looking for good properties because there's a huge demand for housing in the UK right now, and the best part of it, your rent is guaranteed. So you're a guaranteed rent company getting guaranteed rent. Doesn't get much better than that. So the provider signs a lease with you for 3 to 5 years, meaning no chasing tenants, no worrying about voids, just consistent income. And I know what you're thinking, Kenny, this sounds way too good to be true. But look, I get it. When I heard about this strategy, I thought the same thing. Then I looked into it and I'm like, actually, loads of people are doing this. It's really safe. It's really sustainable and a scalable business. But trust me, this works. The key is knowing exactly how to approach providers and structure the deal properly. And that's what I'm going to break down for you right now. Let's get into why people love this strategy. Guaranteed rent. That's the biggest one. Whether the provider's tenant is there or not, you still get paid. That means no stressing about late payments. No voids, no chasing people for money, none of that nonsense, right? This is minimal management for you altogether. This is the most hands-off strategy there is. You're not dealing with tenant issues, you're not dealing with maintenance calls, no constant check-ins, no inspections, none of that. None of anything that you would get with service accommodation or HMOs. Once a property is leased to the provider, they handle the day-to-day stuff. You're out of the loop. This has long-term stability. You sign a contract for 3 to 5 years. Roughly, right? That means no constant remarketing, no dealing with new tenants every few months, just predictable income. Massive demand as well. Councils are desperate for properties right now. Councils are expert at doing their job. They're not experts at sourcing properties. That's where we fill the gap, right? If you can provide a good property, you'll have people lining up to take it. It's a win-win situation for everyone involved. You make passive income, and yes, this is passive as it gets. You make passive income. Providers get quality housing. You're helping people who genuinely need a place to live. It's a great business that also makes a difference. So that sounds pretty good, right? That will help you negotiate deals with landlords because you're providing an amazing service by giving that property to a provider who really needs it. Now, before we get ahead of ourselves, let's quickly touch on the challenges because like any strategy, there are a few things to be aware of. Now, no strategy is perfect, and social housing is no exception. But here's the thing, every challenge has a solution and I'll share them with you. So the first one is lower rent. This is, against serviced accommodation. Yes, in some cases, the provider might pay a little less than you'd get in a serviced accommodation setup. But don't forget, you're also not paying for cleaning, no voids, no marketing fees, no booking fees, no constant management, no bank disputes where the customer has stayed, didn't quite like their stay, and filed a bank dispute against you. All of these downsides to running other businesses, this is all gone. This is passive. Another thing is not all providers are equal, right? Some are rock solid, others not so much. You need to do your due diligence, check their finances. You're going to reference them just like you would reference a normal tenant. Ask for references, make sure they're established. Another downside is obviously getting the landlord approval. Some landlords are unsure about social housing because they think this means their property is going to be trashed. That's not the reality at all. Most providers take amazing care of the properties. In most cases, they even handle all of the maintenance, but they will 100% take on all minor maintenance. So it's all about how you present the opportunity to the landlord. All right, let's get to the fun part now. Everybody loves to start a new strategy. And how can you start your rent to social housing property business? Here is the step-by-step roadmap. So you're going to use Google and you're going to type in supported living providers near me. Boom. You should be inundated with many opportunities just by doing that simple Google search. Go on LinkedIn, go on Facebook, and connect with those key decision makers. call your local council, ask who they work with. Simple as that. It really is that simple. Just get on the phones. Most people aren't willing to do that though. Number 2 is understand their needs. What areas do they need properties in? What types of properties? Is it HMOs? Is it flats? Where? Family homes? Like what rent can they pay? All of these things you're going to need to know before going out and searching for the right type of property. Which leads on to number 3, find the right type of property. Search on Rightmove, OpenRent, Gumtree, Facebook Marketplace. Be aware of a lot of scammers on Facebook Marketplace. It is an absolute minefield. I don't actually understand why there is so much scams on Facebook Marketplace with properties. It blows my mind. And then just start reaching out to landlords, trying to get the viewing, obviously, and negotiate a long-term lease with the landlord. There's a lot to be learned in that situation, but obviously that's the basics of it. That's how you find a deal. Now you need to know how to do all of the in-betweens, negotiate, what to look for on viewings, what to say to the landlord, how to present the offer, etc, etc. And then number 4 is secure the deal. So check the provider's financials. It's so important. Don't just take their word for it. I've heard horror stories. So yeah, definitely do your checks on providers. The contracts need to be aligned as well, like the rent-free periods, the maintenance responsibilities, the break clauses are really important. If they're not aligned, you can't get out. Everything's got to be aligned. You need the landlord's approval, the social housing provider's approval, all the signatures done, and that's when you can start getting paid. If this sounds something like you'd love to do, here's what I want you to do next. Click this video. This is a video of me and Dan having a chat all about social housing and the structure and how to do it in more detail than this. Go and watch that. Also, in the link in the description, if you're still very interested and you want to join our mentorship program, we're going to work with you on a one-to-one basis to help you start, systemize and scale your social housing business. Click that link, book a call with me and Dan. And yes, you will be speaking directly to me and Dan, not a sales rep, not a closer, it's us. And we'll map out your exact next steps together. So social housing is one of the most reliable, scalable rent-to-rent strategies out there. If you're serious about property, this is something you need to consider. So now you know why social housing is such a powerful strategy and exactly how to get started. The only thing left to do is for you to take action or carry on watching YouTube videos to learn more about it. Follow my channel, like, subscribe, do all of that shenanigans, and I will see you on the next one. Thank you.